moment in hockey history. Well, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in fourth place in the Central Division, but with 2 minutes and 59 seconds to go in the third period, the Arizona Coyotes are leading the Anaheim Ducks 2-0, and that may put the Arizona Coyotes over the Nashville Predators for fourth place. So let's update that momentarily. Let's start with this. Let's say the Nashville Predators have skated in 36 games on the season. They have a record of 19-6-1. They have 39 points. That has them 8 points behind the first place Colorado Avalanche. Their next game will take place on the road. We do know that for a fact. Second night of back-to-backs will take place in Washington. 8-7-1 is their overall record on the road. 113 goals is the amount they've scored on the season. 114 goals is the amount they've given up on the season. That means they have a goal differential of -1 down to 242 to go here in the third period. After the Preds wrap up this next game in Washington, this back-to-back on the road, they'll be back home to start the 2024 portion of the calendar. Tuesday versus the Chicago Blackhawks, and then Thursday versus the Calgary Flames. And then on the 6th, the Predators will have their first road game of 2024. It will take place in Dallas. That's going to be a tough matchup against the Stars. On the 9th, the Nashville Predators will face off on home ice against the Anaheim Ducks, the same team that's losing currently to the Arizona Coyotes with 2:26 to go in the third period, 2-0. Yes, I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm tracking it. I'm doing a good job right here in the bunker. And then on the 12th of January, the Preds will be back in Dallas again. So the Preds are in Dallas twice in 6 days in the beginnings of the year 2024. Now, as we continue tracking this Arizona Coyotes game, update standing in the Central Division momentarily. Instantaneous updates here on the show. Let's talk about the Nashville Predators. Next game is going to take place against the Washington Capitals. This is the second of 2 regular season meetings between these two teams. 12-16 was the last time they played. It was the Preds scoring a 3-1 victory over the Washington Capitals. UC Saros went 21 out of 22 and picked up the victory with Sissons, Trennan, and Tomasino, each with goals in the game. Lindgren got the start and took the loss for the Caps, 20 out of 23. Oshie scored the only goal for the Washington Capitals in that game. Quick injury update before we move on to the Washington Capitals side of the ledger. Barry is listed as day-to-day on the defensive side of things. Lankinen listed as day-to-day with an illness. Everybody else on the Nashville Predators at this moment in time healthy. The Washington Capitals have a record of 17-11-5 on the season. They have 39 points. That's good for 6th overall in the Metropolitan Division on home ice, which is where this game will be taking place. 9-4-3. That's a really strong record. This goal differential, though, is no good. 79 goals for on the season, 96 goals against on the season. That's a goal differential of -17. That is a very, very bad number. Their most recent action, 5 games back, is what we'll go. We'll go to December the 20th, and we'll start with a 3-2 overtime win versus the New York Islanders, followed up the next night on the 21st. 3-2 overtime win at the Columbus Blue Jackets on the 23rd of December, 2-1 shootout loss versus Tampa Bay. And then the Christmas break came and went, and on the 27th, they resumed action with a 5-1 loss at the New York Rangers in Madison Square Garden. Their most recent game taking place on the 29th of December. Of course, that was a 5-1 loss at the New York Islanders, and it was Kemper getting the start, taking the loss, 24 out of 29. But Lindgren came in relief and went 3 out of 3 in that game. Now, when it comes to the matchup in the rankings between these two teams, the Nashville Predators goals for 3.11 per game, 18th best in the NHL, is the leading metric of the two teams in this category. The Washington Capitals only averaging 2.30 goals per game. That's 31st overall in the National Hockey League. The Nashville Predators are giving up 3.17 per game. That is 17th overall in the NHL, while the Washington Capitals are giving up 2.82 goals per game. That is 10th best in the National Hockey League. In the shots for category, the Preds generating 30.2 shots per game on net. That is 20th overall in the league. The Washington Capitals only generating 28.1 shots on goal per game. That is 28th in the league. Shots against category, Preds 30.6 per game, 16th best. Shots against for Washington, 30.8 is 19th. When it comes to the special teams matchup, the Preds power play is converting at 20.3%. That's 17th overall in the league, or 26 out of 128 opportunities on the season. The power play for the Washington Capitals is really bad, 11.8%, and that's tough with Alex Ovechkin out there on the power play. That's tough to see them at 30th overall in the NHL, only 11 conversions on 93 opportunities on the season. The penalty kill for the Nashville Predators, 76.3%, is 25th overall in the National Hockey League. 28 power play goals against is a very, very high number. Penalty kill for the Washington Capitals, their kill rate, 82.7%, is 10th best in the National Hockey League. They've only given up 18 power play goals against on the season. With just 24 seconds to go, 18 seconds to go now in the Arizona Coyotes-Anaheim Ducks game, I think it's safe to say the Arizona Coyotes are going to come away with the victory, leading 2-0 right now. That means the Arizona Coyotes, with the most updated and instant standings, are going to move in the fourth place in the Central Division. So your new updated Central Division standings are going to be as follows. Colorado Avalanche are in first place with a record of 22-11-3. They have 47 points. They are 1 point ahead of the second place Dallas Stars, who have a record of 21-9-4 at 46 points. Then you'll find the Winnipeg Jets with 20 wins on the season, 9 losses, 4 overtime losses for 44 points. Then the Arizona Coyotes jump over the Nashville Predators for fourth place. They have 40 points now on the season with their now final victory against the Anaheim Ducks. And the Predators are in fifth place with 44 points. And then you will find the St. Louis Blues at 37, the Minnesota Wild at 36, the Chicago Blackhawks in 8th and last place in the Central Division. But they've moved up a couple points in the standings since we've last talked about them. They're up to 24 points. No, it's not impressive, but they sat on 19 for so long. It seems somewhat remarkable to see that they picked up 5 points in the standings. So the Nashville Predators going into the game in Washington will find themselves in 5th place in the Central Division. That is your instant reaction updated standings to the Central Division after the Arizona Coyotes just finished off their victory versus the Anaheim Ducks. Now, every team in the NHL has high-skilled individual players. We always talk about the top 5 individual scores, and then we always close out the preview by talking about the expected goaltender matchup. Let's talk about the Washington Capitals statistics. Strome is the leading scorer on the Caps, 13 goals and 7 assists for 20 points. Ovechkin, 6 and 14 for 20. Carlson, 1 goal and 18 assists for 19 total points. Wilson at 10 and 8 for 18. And then Protas, 3 and 14 for 17. Now, Alex Ovechkin typically has very good games against the Nashville Predators, and he certainly was trying to break his big-time scoring drought against the Predators at Bridgestone Arena. Since that game, he has broken through and has started moving in the right direction. So I'm very much looking forward to the potential matchup that we'll talk about here in the goaltending matchup here in a second. But let's talk about the Nashville Predators statistics first. Philip Forsberg leads the team in all 3 of the major categories: goals, assists, and points. 18 goals, 23 assists, 41 points on the season. O'Reilly's at 14-15 for 29. Yossi's at 7 and 21 for 28. Nyquist, 8 and 18 assists for 26 total points. And Colton's 11 goals and 9 assists for 20 total points. Now, very excited about this potential goaltending matchup as far as for the Nashville Predators, with UC Saros taking the loss versus Detroit in overtime. His record is now 15-13-1, a 9-on-1 save percentage, 3.02 goals against average, 1 shutout. First time Andrew Burnett has put UC Saros out there in the first night of back-to-backs, with Lankinen being out with illness right now. Didn't know how the rotation was going to go, but Saros gets the first start, takes loss. It means Yaroslav Askarov is going to get the start against Washington Capitals unless Lankinen suddenly makes a quick return. 0-0-0 is the record for Askarov, but he's 6 out of 6 in relief the other night, 1640 total time on ice. Not his first ever time in the NHL, but he made 6 saves the other night, so he does have some experience in this recent call-up, and expecting that to come against Lindgren because Kemper got the start. Lindgren did come in relief and go 3 for 3. So Lindgren, 7-3-3 on the season, a 9.28 save percentage, 2.27 goals against average. Took the loss against the Nashville Predators, giving up 3 goals on December the 16th, going 20 out of 23. Updated numbers on Kemper after that performance against the Islanders: 8-8-2 and 8.92 save percentage, 3.16 goals against average. Alex Ovechkin versus Askarov. I'm very much looking forward to this insanity that could happen. What a matchup this could possibly be between these two. Very excited about this game. Nashville Predators closing out this back-to-back in Washington, closing out the regular season series against the Caps, looking to go for the regular season series sweep against the Washington Capitals. And to be honest with you, when you go down the line, you look at how the Preds performed against the Caps, you look at all the different metrics, the matchups, and you look at how the Predators are performing overall. The Predators should come away with these 2 points, which would allow them to come away with 3 out of 4 points for the weekend back-to-back. That's going to do it for your preview. We've got to get to the Reverb Sports full game recap. We have to talk about the Nashville Predators and their first trip to Detroit for this season. It's coming up next right here on the Renegades of Puck Podcast.